Here are your notes for section 5.1. I feel like I say that every time. Here are your notes for section, well, that's what it is. Section 5.1, a couple vocabulary words. Midsegment is a segment that connects the midpoints of two sides of a triangle. So one segment connects the midpoints of two sides of a triangle. Draw your triangle, calculate where the middle is, midpoint of each side. If I draw this mid-segment, you're going to have to draw it. I can drag it, hopefully. That mid-segment, or I could draw this mid-segment between those two sides of the triangle, or you could draw this mid-segment. And I guess technically if you wanted to, you could draw all three mid-segments at the same time, which divides it into another triangle. Some fun facts about mid-segments. A mid-segment is parallel to the other side, to the third side. So if you're connecting these two sides, this mid-segment always will end up exactly parallel to the third side, no matter what kind of triangle you make. It could be a right triangle, it could be equilateral triangle, isosceles triangle, scalene, obtuse. Doesn't matter. If you connect the mid-segments, it always ends up parallel. And it also ends up half as long as the third side. This mid-segment is exactly half the distance of the third side. Doesn't matter what kind of triangle. And that works for all of these. This mid-segment is parallel to this side and half as long. This mid-segment is parallel to this side and half as long. So believe it or not, we'll probably have some alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, all that good stuff. We have parallel lines, we have midpoints, take a look at this triangle. You're going to need to pause the video if you have to draw it. Otherwise, if you have it on a handout, you can just fill in the blanks as we go. You can see by the tick marks that V is a midpoint because those two sides are congruent. W is a midpoint because these two sides are congruent. U is a midpoint because these two sides are congruent. The mid-segment, UW, is drawn here. The mid-segment, VW, is drawn there. We haven't yet drawn the mid-segment from V to U. Question asks, find UW. Find the length of UW. What do we know about segment UW? We know that it's a mid-segment because it connects midpoint W and midpoint U, and we know that by the tick marks. We also know that it's, didn't want to do that. We also know that it is parallel to the third side and half as long. Well, if it's half as long as that side is, and we know the whole RS is 12, we can deduce that the measure of segment UW equals 6. Another friendly reminder, you don't put a segment bar when you're talking about the measure. Find the measure of segment RT. We need to get from R all the way to T. We know nothing about this side, but we do know its mid-segment. Its mid-segment goes from V to W. How big is its mid-segment? Half as long as this side. So that's 8, and that's 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. Next one, find the measure of segment WT. We're trying to find the measure of segment WT. We don't have a mid-segment to compare it to, but we do have a midpoint. W is the midpoint. If this side is 7, that side is 7. Please don't make it more complicated than it is. It's as easy as that. And the last one, find the measure of segment VU. So now we do need to draw in this mid-segment. Find the distance, the measure of it, how long is it? It's parallel to its third side. It's also half the distance. If this whole distance is 14, then V to U is 7. Same as WT. One more diagram. Just again, pause it if you need to write this down. X, Y, and Z are midpoints. If you want to make your tick marks in there, you can, but otherwise you have it in the givens. If the measure of segment XZ is 7x minus 1, and the measure of segment AB, ooh, look at that. That was a really good one. Can you draw that? I never could when I was younger. AB. How big is AB? 4x plus 3. If we know that and we know this, we need to find the measure of segment XZ. We know that XZ is half as large as this is, but we don't want to cut this expression in half. Cutting this expression in half gives us a fraction. So if we take XZ and we multiply it by 2, 2 of these would be the same size as 1 AB is. So we take 2 times parentheses 7x minus 1 and set it equal to 4x plus 3. Do the math, distribute. 14x minus 2 equals 4x plus 3 minus 4x from both sides. You get 10x. Add 2 to the other side. You get 5. Careful. Watch your dividing here. Those of you that just want to write down 2. It is not 2. X is 1/2. I'm okay with 0.5 just because it's a terminating small, easy decimal. But if x is 1/2, then you have to plug in the measure here. 7 times 1/2 minus 1. You can use your fraction calculator. You can use your head. Doesn't matter to me. 7, I'll use a calculator. I hate it when I screw up on here. 7 times 1/2 minus 1 ends up being 2.5. So I would have been right. And do the same here. Don't just say that, oh, it's going to be twice as big. Do your math. 4 times 0.5, add 3 to it, you should get 5. Which you do, and 2.5 is half of 5. That's it. Midpoints, mid-segments. Do the math. Good luck.